Hello. Today I'll be talking about lesson 1, part 2 of strategic portfolio management, which I've discussed in my video 1. And in video 1, we have talked about what a company strategy is and what a purchasing strategy is. Now we are going into a bit more detail. I just want to reiterate the fact that this is a very intense certification course that I'm trying to simplify in the simplest form. So I will try to be at the top level. I'll not try to go into a lot of details because this certification requires you to spend your time for months. Having said that, before we go into this discussion, any purchasing organization has 3 options. Number 1 is to stay tactical, which is keep doing whatever they are doing and just try to improve on their existing situation. Number 2 is to become more strategic, look into things into a more holistic way, and try to summarize or try to suffice organizations requirements by looking into end-to-end solutions. And number 3, if they don't do anything, then it's really easy these days to get outsourced. Anyway, so our focus is to become more and more strategic. So today I'm talking about the first aspect of detailing this thing out to become the first step in becoming more and more strategic is how to define internal needs. And the rest of the arrows I'll take it up in my future videos as and when I get some time. To do internal needs, we usually do a couple of things here, which is to provide risk versus spend analysis. What is the risk against each spend? Which are your buying center? So buying center is who are your key buying organizations within your organization. Is it engineering? Is it finance? Is it legal? Whoever it is. So you need to understand that buying center. Number 3 is the requirements. So clearly try to understand what the requirement is by developing those requirements in a detailed document, maybe a specification sheet, maybe a statement of work, whatever it's required or whatever is needed. And the fourth one is segmentation. So providing proper segmentation in a way that you classify everything in different buckets and then accordingly treat them as the requirement suggests. To do the internal needs, the Swiss knife of internal needs is by doing things in a way what Pareto suggested. So there's a gentleman by the name of Wilfredo Pareto who suggested this rule, which is illustrated here, that 80% of the wealth of the world stays with 20% of the people. And this rule pretty much applies to everything that we try to analyze in this world. So we take this rule and apply in the procurement area by a thing or by a work solution which is called ABC analysis. What we do here, or the objective here, is to classify our spend in a way that we could properly assign resources and then prioritize. So the way we usually do ABC analysis is we take all our spend and we put them in a descending order. So the top spend remains at this level, and the bottom spend remains at this level. What it does is that it classifies and gives you a perspective. So you can see just by this illustration that, again, taking the inkling from Pareto Rule, is you will find that your 80% of the value stays with 10, 15 or 20 or maybe 30 vendors in any organization. 15% of the value of the overall spend remains with maybe 60 or 70 or 100 vendors, and the bottom, the tail portion, stays with 5% of the value stays with hundreds of vendors. So the question remains, what do we do with this? Should we be spending more time or focusing more time on the high dollar value items, or the lower value items, buying those small widgets? So the answer to that will be lying in the next steps, which I will take it up in my future videos. Thank you very much.